Hi guys, heartbreak here, welcome yourselves back to Ride 2 now. It is round 2 of the SuperBike League on the Xbox One. So that means, just like the Super Sport race, we are racing at Monza, this time on Superbikes. Let's go over and get this race started. Everyone, get them ready. 10 of us for the race. We had a few connection issues and had to close the first lobby down and restart. But luckily we managed to get it going for the second time. Off the line, wasn't a too bad start. A few people go past me. Of course, we've got the chicane coming up. Someone had a bit of a rear end moment going into the chicane and ended up high siding. Looked like they locked the rear up. So we're momentarily up to third again, and then almost got our rear taken out there. So down to fifth. We come to the second chicane where there was a bit of an incident between Dylan coming way back, and when he went underneath our moorland, he unfortunately touched, and our moorland went down. Now it's been an incident that I've had to think about quite a bit, because Dylan was quite far back when he'd done it, but we'll talk about that a bit more in a minute, because someone had a massive wheelie there and went backwards, another person had a big wheelie. And there's just bikes all over the place. It was a bit chaotic, but a lot of fun anyway. Yeah, that incident between our moorland and Dylan, like I said, we'll talk about in a minute, because we've actually got footage from Dylan's perspective, which is actually what made me make up my mind. Because from my perspective, I only had my perspective. It did look like Dylan came from a long way back. However, he was on the apex and the racing line when they tipped in, but we'll switch over to Dylan in a minute to show it from his perspective. We'll show his start as well. So that was the end of the first lap. We were in 5th place at this time. Like I said, we're going to switch over to Dylan and look at his start. So here we go. Off the line, he actually got a pretty shit start. Someone went completely backwards there. I didn't actually realise that until I watched this. Someone just went completely backwards. Yeah, like I said, Dylan got a really bad start. Went back down to 9th at one point. There's that crash at the first chicane. And he was up to 6th. Pulled a little bit of a wheelie. It's our moorland on the Kawasaki, that distinctive noise. So he's down to 7th. And as he comes around, although he does brake and come from a long way back, he is actually in fact ahead of our moorland before they even begin tipping in. And obviously when they both do tip in, their two lines merge into one, and unfortunately the person on the outside comes off worse. So personally, I've had to put that down to a racing incident, just because, like I said, Dylan was quite far ahead of moorland before they even began tipping into the corner. If they were both cranked over and that happened, by all means I would have given Dylan a penalty point, but because they were still both braking before they even started tipping in and Dylan was ahead, I won't be awarding a penalty point. But he's gone into the lead now, ahead of Jack, who is in 2nd. So come to the Parabolica, and that is the end of Dylan's first lap and the first lap of the race at Monza. Like I said, it was quite chaotic. There was 10 of us in this race, but back with me now. This is the start of the second lap as Demons comes alongside me into the first chicane. So we're back down to 5th. You've got 3 of them just ahead of us. Pull a bit of a wheelie there, and actually lose another place to Kevin, who's on another Yamaha. So we're down to 6th. And bit like the Super Sport race, I was kind of struggling to begin with to actually get a good rhythm going. We've just gone past someone there who's just had a crash. And the other thing is, I had nowhere near as much practice time as I get shown the grass there. Yeah, I didn't have nearly as much time practicing for this race as I did for the first round, just because all weekend I was in London, so I didn't get to practice at all. And I didn't finish work till 7:30 either last night when the race happened, so by the time I got home and everything, I literally done 2 practice laps last night before the race, and that was it. So I wasn't very confident going into the race at all, but just had to do the best I could, and I was fighting with Kevin at the moment into the Parabolica. We're back up to 4th, and the leaders had a little bit of a break on. Dylan had a bit of a gap as well over 2nd place, so that is 3rd and 2nd ahead of us. Kevin comes alongside us into the first chicane. We managed to outbrake him, and closing on these two a little bit. I kept going over that bloody sausage on the inside of the curve, which is quite dangerous because it can really throw you off. It's a bit of a pain in the ass. It's definitely not the quickest way through that chicane, just because you lose so much drive. But into the 2nd chicane, just kissing that big curb on the inside. But at the moment the gap was kind of consistent. It was kind of yo-yoing, but pretty much staying the same. It's only changing sector by sector, but it would go down one sector but go back up the next one. I was definitely pulling away from Kevin, which was good. So 4th place was looking like that was it for me, to be honest. 4th place, and if I'm honest, I was going to be alright with that, just because, like I said, I didn't do nearly as much practice as I could and as I did for the first round, just because I didn't have time. But it is what it is. We struggled through in Super Sport, managed to get 2nd place. And I actually closed up a little bit here on the 3rd and 4th place. 2nd and 3rd, sorry. Brownie Scales unfortunately disconnected. I don't know whether he disconnected or quit. I'm assuming he disconnected. But we're going to skip forward to lap number 4, the end of lap number 4. And we are gaining on 3rd place now. Batman's mate. He's just ahead of us now, but we have reeled him in really quickly. Demons, who is in 2nd, has pulled away from him, but he's come back to us, and now we've got to see if we can get past him, trying to use his slipstream down the start-finish straight. So we've started lap number 5 now, getting closer and closer. On the brakes, I managed to just sneak through and get the bike stopped as well. And we've closed up a little bit on Demons as well in 2nd place. So now I was kind of getting him in my mojo, getting him in my rhythm, and starting to feel okay on the bike. Not feeling 100% like I did in the first race. In the first race I felt pretty good, but in this one, not so good, just down to lack of practice. Luckily for the next race, I'm not going anywhere, so I will be able to do some practicing. So there were a few places where I noticed I was losing out just because I was making some little mistakes. That little right-hander we just went through, that leads on to this bit we're on now. I kept taking that either too tight or too wide, not getting a really good run out. Same with this one as well. Took that way too tight and lost loads of drive coming out, so Demons pulled away again just because we hit that inside curb, which obviously is not what you want to be doing. It's because it will lose you quite a bit of drive, and it's surprising how much drive you do lose, because obviously you end up going in the air a little bit, going airborne, which means your rear isn't in contact with the ground, which means you're not getting any drive. So that is the end of lap number 5, so halfway through the race. And we're going to move on to lap number 7, and we are just starting to reel in Demons. So this is the start of lap number 8, so that was the end of lap 7, start of 8. A few laps to go, and we are starting to slowly, very slowly, reel Demons back in. And that's when I was thinking I'm going to have to start trying again. I need to see if we can put some decent laps together, because we are gaining. Gap was 1.2. And I was trying to get some good exits there. We closed up quite a bit. He went very wide there, which enabled us to close in a little bit more. And through here. It was okay through there. Just not quite able to use his slipstream. He had slightly better drive out, so he couldn't capitalise on his slipstream. Into the flip-flop. Just trying to stay with him, but caught that one up and lost some drive, which did go on to lose us some time again. So even though we got real close to him, the gap had gone back up to over a second again. So now we were coming around to finish lap at 8 and start the penultimate lap, which means that I was running out of time. I needed to pull my finger out. I needed to do some real decent laps. It was 1.6, so that gap had gone up quite a bit. I needed to start pushing again and try to be mistake free. We closed up loads on the brakes there. Bike trying to wheelie all the time. Trying to get a good run out of here. Through the chicane. He's under a second. Trying to get a good run out. Try not to wheelie. And it was our Moorland who was in 4th now, but he was over 6 seconds behind. There I went wide and got a crap run out of there. That was one of my problem corners. Just couldn't quite hook the corner up properly. Into the flip-flop. I put the brakes on way too early there. And again, that's going to lose us a bit of time. Got a better run out of there that time though. But still not quite close enough. If he could maintain that gap for the next lap, it wasn't going to happen. It was still a pretty big gap. So out of Parabolica for the penultimate time. We've got one more lap to go. So here we go. Final lap starting. The gap still over a second. And it was looking like Demons was going to have it covered into the first chicane. Again, closing up a bit, cocked up my exit a little bit, went a bit wide. That lost us a little bit of time. Went on the curb there, which lost me a little bit of drive as well. So I was trying, but unfortunately I was also making mistakes. There's 1.1, so it had come down a little bit. Didn't get the best of exits through there, but neither did Demons, and he was definitely coming back to me, but pulled a massive wheelie. So that lost us time as well, just like the Super Sport race, pulling a big wheelie when I didn't want to. Didn't get the best of exits out of here either. So it was definitely looking like time was not on my side. 1.1 still, so entering the final sector. I put the brakes on a bit later that time and actually got a decent run out of there, and I know that Demons had a bit of a mistake through there as well, which enabled us to close it right down, and we were within 0.3 of a second from him. Into Parabolica, Demons goes in there a bit too wide, so we managed to get the inside line, but as our two lines merge, we have a little touch which sits me up a tiny bit and unfortunately makes me go over the curb, and then I panic trying to get started again and pull a big wheelie and crash, and that meant that our Moorland managed to come past as well, so I thought fuck it, let's crash across the line as well, and we'll see that from Demon's perspective. So this is the final lap. This is the right-hander coming onto the back straight. So you can see the dots on the map. And you'll see what I mean by Demon's making a mistake into here. So through he goes. As he comes over, he goes a bit too tight and gets a crap run out. That's what enabled us to close right in. You can see that I was closing him down real close into the parabolica, and he did outbrake himself a little bit. But from his footage, he doesn't get anywhere near as close as what he did on my footage. So we're going to have to put that down to a bit of lag, the little contact we had. So that is the race results. Dylan took the win, followed by Demons in second. Armorland took third, and I unfortunately took fourth after panicking after crashing yet again. Batman's mate came home in fifth. GSXR Matt sixth. I Danny D in seventh. Kevin in eighth. Jack ninth. And Brandy had that disconnect. So that is the end of that race, and it was a real good race apart from the very last corner. I so thought I had him, but unfortunately due to lag it wasn't meant to be. So let's look at the championship. I'm still leading, but only by 2 points now. I'm closely followed by Armorland and Demons, who are joint on points, second and third, both with 36. Dylan moves up to fourth after that win with 29 points. Matt fifth with 23. Batman's mate sixth with 19. I Danny D in seventh with 18. Jack eighth with 17. Brandy Scales ninth with 15, and Kevin in 10th with 8 points. So yeah, it was definitely a race with incidents and stuff, but we've sorted it all out. Obviously, like I said, from my footage, Demons was very close, and it was just a case of our two paths emerging on the same line, as he took a very, very wide line. I took a tighter one, and even though obviously on his footage he got nowhere near me, on my footage, due to lag he was, which did cause my rider to sit up and go a bit wide. What I should have done was shut the throttle and settle for third, but I kept it pinned and thought I could still get it, and ended up making 2 mistakes just before the line, which cost me potentially 2 places. It could have been a second, it should have been a third, but it ended up with a 4th place. And like I said, that incident with Dylan and Armorland as well, which has been resolved. So yeah, that's the end of the second round of the Superbike League. Just like the Super Sport League, the next race will be at the Franciacorta track. A real tight and twisty track. I'm actually thinking about extending the laps for that track because the laps are so short, and that will be happening next Tuesday, the 31st of January. Anyway guys, that is it from me. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to leave this video a like if you enjoyed it, subscribe to my channel for more content, and I shall see you guys in the next video. See you!